Hello, and thank you for coming to the McWaters Effect. I'm your host, Matt. Today I'm looking at OAN, but first, need you to hit like and subscribe. Helps the channel grow. Let's take a look at this news article. Analysis of Fulton County election audit raises more questions. There's a video here. We'll go ahead and watch it.
County audits in Georgia have begun to raise more questions about the legitimacy of the 2020 election. One America's Scott Wheeler has that report.
Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger and Fulton County election officials have used audits they say they conducted in order to assure the nation that Georgia's election, that had Joe Biden defeating President Trump by fewer than 12,000 votes, was legitimate. But one person who was on hand for that audit has questions.
And the reality is they allowed 6 people on the floor, and I was one of 6 people that was allowed to rotate out onto the floor to watch scanning and counting.
David Cross was a witness to the Fulton County audit, but when he noticed several unsecured ballot bags, he was escorted from the building. Were all the bags carrying ballots, were they secured in your finding?
No. In fact, I went over, I kind of got bored looking at people pushing the paper through the scanners, and I started walking around another part of the area that was cordoned off, and this place was open, and it had all of the ballot totes that were lined up. They looked like little black suitcases, and the vast majority of them had locks on them. They were secure, and I happened to notice that there were a few that were not locked. They had these red locking zip ties on them that you would have to cut with a pair of scissors or snips, and I noticed that there were probably like 9 of these things that didn't have security tabs on them.
But Cross noticed something else suspicious when he conducted an analysis of the audit. He had even more questions.
But the crazy thing is that we found multiple times where Trump received duplicate ballots, and Biden received a huge amount of duplicate, counted votes, to the point where it's just impossible for both of these things to be true.
Cross explained that batches of ballots in which Biden had a significant advantage appear to have been counted 2 and sometimes 3 times, providing Biden a 4,121 vote advantage, with 42 duplicate ballot batches for Biden versus only 2 for Trump.
You can't tell me that the risk limiting audit was so closely aligned to the original count numbers, but yet we're finding all these duplications.
An issue such as this one could be resolved with a hand recount in the presence of witnesses, except Fulton County and the Georgia Secretary of State have expended considerable resources in court to prevent this sort of recount from taking place. For One America News, I'm Scott Wheeler.
Alright guys, that's the end of the video. And there's 2 things from this video I want to talk about. Number 1 is the security. Now, the security sucked. You had some totes that had a lock on it. Some totes just had a zip tie on it. And some totes didn't have anything on it. So anyone could get into them. So that has a problem with security and election transparency, in my opinion, whenever they were doing this audit. Now, this was not the audit they were doing in Fulton County whenever they were auditing 160,000 mail-in ballots. That's not what this audit was. This was actually done after the election, before everything was certified. And this guy calls it a limited risk audit, which, if you go by just the wording of it, there's limited chances of it changing any kind of outcome when it comes to an election. And the reason is because you're not actually looking at ballots. What you're doing is actually looking at the tabulator and the tabulation paper that comes out, and it tells you what the ballot count is in each bag or tote. The fact is that might not be accurate. You just don't know. You have to actually pull the ballots out and count them by hand. That's the point of a forensic audit, so you could actually do that. Now, that was not done during that audit. Now, that was actually done in Fulton County whenever they did the 160,000 mail-in ballots or absentee ballots. And they found all those problems. So I have a feeling if they did a full forensic audit, they would find problems with the whole county of Fulton County, and probably the whole state too. So that's why the whole state needs to actually get an audit. But guys, that's my opinion. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please hit like and subscribe. It helps the channel grow. Peace.